Good morning, everyone. It is 5th of July. It's a nice Friday morning, and this is the AgYield War Room. I am everyone's favorite backup host and AgYield marketing manager, Jack Coakley, filling in for Dan today. Let's kick things off with, be a part of the conversation today. Tell us about your 4th of July. Talk about how many hot dogs you ate or how many hot dogs do you think Joey Chestnut's going to eat. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You can always post a comment or reach out to us at info@agyield.com. No overnight markets or numbers to speak of. We're going to hard open here at 8:30. So I will just throw us right into a conversation with our guys here. Dustin, I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. So, we're coming into, the post-4th holiday trade where we're still looking at weather for pollination. And by all accounts, the next 2 weeks still look rather decent for average temp. We're still looking at a fairly cool pollination in the west, and enough moisture. I think we've had enough moisture coming into this time frame. Overall, the ECMWF is still, it's not like overly wet for the next 2 weeks, but I think everyone agrees we've had a lot of moisture coming in this time frame. So no real concerns from the growing side, other than maybe this excessive rain we've had in Minnesota that might bring some concern to just being an outsized large national yield. But I think we go back to what are the acres in the end, and what are we going to be looking at when we finally get to what's been a fairly tight global grain supply, coming into this time frame. We take all the numbers minus China's data, and we're looking at like that 10.5% stocks to use globally. So where is a fair flat price is a question I think a lot of people would be looking at, and we've been trading these numbers for a while. These weather numbers coming into the pollination window. And I think we've had a lot of negative things from the currency side. So one thing I'm noticing as we come into this hard open here in 13 minutes is we are seeing a rebound in the euro, in the Brazilian real, a little break in the dollar index. So even though we're looking at kind of an uncertain open, we at least have a positive influence coming into that from the currency side. So I'll be interested to see how we open here in a little bit.
Oh, that's great stuff. Thanks, Dustin, for your thoughts there. Let's shoot it over to Ben. What's on your mind?
Just looking at corn in particular, volume really dried up after the report. Massive volume on report day, 400,000 December contracts traded on Wednesday, which was a holiday day. The day before is definitely less participants, down to 118,000. We've seen decreasing volume every day since the report. And, I'll put my tinfoil hat on for a minute, going back sometimes on days following, Fridays following a holiday, you think in terms of like a Thanksgiving or something like that, you have a diluted amount of participants. If someone has an agenda, we can have a fairly strong move in either direction. We may sit here and just let the algos be bid and offered all day forever, and Ryland mentioned into the close. We've traded a lot of the things that are out there, negative currency moves, a big flip in the weather models, a fairly benign outlook. And what's the motivation here at this point to pile drive it? We do have a WASDE next week. Those numbers will probably not be super kind to corn. I think most people already have their balance sheets worked out and have a pretty good range of where that's going to come in, less yield. And then we have to look forward into August, where we can start getting some inklings of what prevent plant looks like, a little bit more insight into acres. But ultimately, unfortunately, I don't think we get the full story until we get to January. So markets today, light volume. I think the funds are probably approaching, getting close to that 350,000, 325,000 short number. They've got some bullets left. And, they're betting that they can make it through those August numbers, WASDs, and then not a flip in weather before we get to harvest. So, markets just, maybe you can discount some of that for being a holiday week. But it's we're just kind of playing with, we're playing 7-card poker with 6 cards right now, and it just is a little bit of a frustrating experience to know that there's probably some changes that are going to have to come from acreage, but we trade the numbers that we have, and that's what we have today. So we'll be patient here. I thought rains over the weekend, to me, looked some people really benefited pretty decent in northern Illinois and Iowa. Indiana got some rain. Ohio got some rain. I think amounts were probably slightly disappointing for most people relative to what was forecasted in that 1 to 14 day time frame, but there are some chances left this week. So
thanks for that, Ben. Good input there. Ryland, I'll shoot it over to you to talk a little bit about livestock and wrap up the shortened week.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Jack. Still a pretty quiet market here as far as cash goes for cattle. We did rally pretty hard into this, into the holidays. So I think, generally the cash optimism is still pretty much there. I mean, we did see a slight decrease in choice and select beef prices, but I think the market's probably looking to shake that off. I think everybody's going into this week still pretty optimistic that Packers are going to kind of have to pay up. And, at this point in the year, it just seems like we got the discount on the board. And this month in particular is usually a pretty strong kind of price action kind of month. So it still feels like you could make another leg up here if the conditions still kind of hold up, especially in the beef. It just feels like we're really going to keep this thing elevated until we get past this big kind of seasonal demand, which would be pretty much mark the end of grilling season, be Labor Day. So we'll see how it all kind of shakes up. It didn't look like there was anything on the export side of the market to really write home about. So I don't think we're going to pay too much attention to that. So right now it's just all eyes on cash right now. See if the Packers are still willing to bid up here. There's been some light sales at 308, but aside from that, maybe some 191 ish kind of live trade, but still waiting for the South to really pick up here. So that should come to fruition today. On the hog side of things, we saw some mixed action going into the holiday. Just right now, just waiting for any kind of support here. It's a little bit interesting, especially in the weights, with the big down the previous week at 284 versus 287 on barewood gilt weights. So, I mean, this could be just kind of imply that maybe we see a little bit, not necessarily tightness, but producers are current. So I think you could see cash start to stabilize maybe for a time here. Typically, we don't see that big down until after grilling season. So all in all, it seems like you priced in a lot of really bad news in the market. We're trying to level off. So hopefully we can see a little bit more of that. Cutout was down a little bit. Bellies were down. So, you're just not getting a lot of support on the meat side of things. But, as far as pork sales, looked like they were pretty good here. They were up 51% from the previous week and 96% from the 4-week average. So maybe a little bit of export demand is pulling us off these lows here. So we'll see if we see some follow through here, but otherwise just feels like the price action been pretty choppy. The market doesn't know what it wants to do down here. Seems like it just wants to level off. So hopefully we can get some better fundamental news to get that little bit of a pop.
Thank you for that, Ryland. Of course it is Friday, and we are without Brian today. So I received his blessing to do Fun Fact Friday myself, which I have been vigorously preparing for all week. So I was thinking about what exactly is fun for people, and especially for me, and what's more fun than office supplies. So here, for the first time ever, I'll tell you the accidental story of the Post-it note and its rise to success. So 3M, before they were doing office supplies, they were Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, focusing mostly on adhesives and industrial grade adhesives. And in 1968, Dr. Spencer Silver, which is a great name, he, in kind of an oversight, he was trying to make an adhesive for aerospace engineering. And instead of making a really strong adhesive, he made some of the weakest adhesive that he possibly could. And it was a big mistake. And but he just kind of kept the formula in his back pocket, never knew what would come of it someday. Fast forward to 1974, he's talking with a coworker of his, another engineer and doctor, Arthur Fry, and Arthur's got a problem, right? He sings in his church's choir, and he marks all his hymns with ripped up pieces of paper. But what do ripped up pieces of paper do? They fall out, right? They don't. Yeah, I have props, Brian. Step up.
Yeah, wow.
There are
Wow.
props.
Wow.
Anyway, so Art has the idea. Hey, why don't we add a little bit of your crappy adhesive to pieces of paper, and that way, not only will they be able to hold a spot for a long period of time, but there won't be any residue. It won't rip any surface, rip any fabric. And then when they pitched this idea to the higher ups at 3M, it launched in 1980 to meteoric success. And to this day, it is one of the most sought after pieces of office supplies out there. So if we can learn anything from that, it's, keep your bad ideas in your back pocket, because you never know what might stick.
Oh, wow, Jack. Jeez, man, that was great.
I know. I'm going to put Brian out of a job.
Seriously, retirement. Sorry.
Oh, God. Anyway, I'm such a clown. I know it. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us here today, guys. As always, we are streaming live on X, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Appreciate everyone who jumped on today. 36 live viewers today, so thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back at it Monday morning, 8:15 Central Time. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Jack.
Take care.